Hey guys, I'm Jeff Boyce, founder of Evolution Nutrition, and this is episode number 3, talking about training and nutrition and how they complement each other. Now, with training, there's a principle called overload principle, and that means that in order to create some change in the body in terms of muscle or whatever adaptation, there has to be an overload. There has to be an overload of the muscle or the system. And the same principle can actually be applied to nutrition. There has to be a change. So if you want to maximize the results from your training, the same principle has to be applied to nutrition in terms of creating the right energy balance, the right macros, the right food choices, which can get overwhelming. I know, believe me. So when you look at the changes in nutrition that can be applied to creating the best results with your training, you need to look at it very simply. So there's different levels. And when you look at the first principle, which is energy balance, that can be the core focus first. So energy balance is the foundation of nutrition, and it's the foundation of how your body is going to react to the training that you're completing. So there's a lot of calculations out there and equations, which are great foundations that take into account body weight, size, age, and gender. But when it comes down to it, your energy balance is your true state right now. You can integrate the most important principle of nutrition that's going to deliver you the results. And that's consistency. Consistency with your training and consistency with your nutrition. So if you had that foundation set in terms of your energy balance, knowing how many calories you're taking in, you know exactly how to change or alter that nutrition to align with your training goals. But again, consistency is the key. So with energy balance being your first principle and the most important concept of nutrition that's going to help with your training, that has to be applied first. And from there, you have a lot of different choices, and it can be overwhelming. You have food choices, portion sizes, meal timing, nutrient timing, everything under the sun that can actually have an effect, but it's all about what you can commit to and what your clients can commit to and be consistent with their goals. So with regards to nutrition, it's a slow process, just like training. So there has to be a consistency and there has to be a commitment over time that's going to help ensure that you're going to get those goals. So with nutrition, don't expect anything overnight. So nutrition, just like with training, the key is consistency, but it's a slow process and you have to be patient and be consistent with your actions in order to see the results. Small changes consistently are better than big changes inconsistently, and that's the same thing with training. So when you focus on the foundation of nutrition, which is your energy balance and calories, from there, if you're looking at maximizing training, you can look at the nutrition before and after training. So when we talk about pre-workout and post-workouts, everybody's mind immediately goes to supplements, and that's okay. Supplements are great in their own term, but the foundation has to be nutrition. So when we talk pre-workout, we're not talking what pre-workout supplements you're taking, we're talking what nutrition you're setting as the foundation for that workout an hour or two before your training. And your post-workout nutrition, the same thing. And your post-workout nutrition can be in the form of a supplement, but food always makes things better. So there's tricks that you can apply that will help with your post-workout recovery using food as the key. So here, I'm going to show you some tips and tricks with pre- and post-workout nutrition that I use and that I found best with regards to the science and what I know our pros use with their clients to maximize the results. Pre-workout nutrition is essential for any training with maximizing the results that you want to get from it. So when we talk about pre-workout nutrition, most people think supplements, but what's true is the nutrition and the power of food with maximizing your workout. So as a foundation for pre-workout nutrition, the first principle I always say is you have to start with hydration. Hydration is the key for delivering nutrients to the muscles, for muscle growth and repair. The hydration has to be set first as a foundation with then getting in your macros, carbs, proteins, and fats. So the studies have shown actually that you can absorb up to 2 cups of water in typical people over a course of an hour. So that will actually enter the bloodstream within an hour before exercise. So first and foremost, make sure you or your clients take in 1 to 2 cups of water gradually over the course of starting about an hour before we're working out. So from here, you have different principles. You have your carbs, your proteins, and your fats. Now, pre-workout nutrition, there's a lot of different principles in terms of consuming fats beforehand, in terms of it interfering with nutrient absorption or digestion. It's all personal preference. You can cite studies on both sides. So what I personally like to do is focus on my carbohydrates and my proteins. And if I need fats, I'll get those in small quantities from separate sources. So my preferences for pre-workout nutrition, if I'm focusing just on the carbohydrates and proteins, are oats, actually quick oats. I tend to digest them a lot better, potatoes, and jasmine rice. Now with those types of carbohydrates, the amount actually lines up with a typical meal for me. So I take in about 60 to 70 grams of carbohydrates, which is about a cup of oats, half a cup of jasmine rice, or 1 large potato. With regards to proteins, my go-to sources are egg whites, tuna, or chicken breast. Again, low fat, easily digestible proteins. With egg whites, it's about 8 to 10 egg whites, which is about a cup of liquid egg whites, or 40 grams of protein coming from either chicken breast or tuna, and that's about 170, 175 grams of lean protein. So those are my go-to choices for carbohydrates and proteins, and that's what I feel maximizes my training. Now we're going to talk about post-workout nutrition and what essentials have to be there in order for you to maximize your training, which maximizes the results. So first and foremost, hydration. You have to get in 1 to 2 cups, even more, of water to get the volume of fluid back into your system that you expended during the exercise. From there, the key is carbohydrates. Where's my carbohydrates? Where's my proteins? Where's my fats? And if you look at it with that segment, then you're going to make sure you hit all the macros and calories that you need after your workout. So with post-workout carbohydrates, you want to combine both high glycemic and low glycemic carbohydrates to get that delayed release of glucose and glycogen back into your system. So my go-to is oats or quick oats. So about a cup of oats will get you about 60 to 70 grams of carbohydrates. Again, calculate your macros, make sure you're keeping in line with what the standards say are best for post-workout nutrition. So with regards to the proteins, you can have supplement protein, obviously, with 1 to 2 scoops of whey or vegan type of protein. But there's also other protein sources that you can add that are more food-based. And this will actually help with increased digestion and nutrient absorption. And one of the go-tos for me is Greek yogurt is a great post-workout food because it's high in protein, easily digestible, great enzymes to help with digestion, and it will give your body the actual boost in nutrients and protein that you need if you want to add more food sources. With regards to fats, I personally prefer MCT oils, pre and post workout. I digest them better. It is actually easier to get into the bloodstream and get to the working muscles faster. But if you're going to use some type of nut or seed, my preference is sunflower butter. I personally feel better with sunflower seed butter as opposed to peanut butter or almond butter. I tend to digest it a little bit better, but it also has about 1/3 less calories from saturated fats. And depending upon the brand that you choose, typically they're higher in protein content also. So once we have the macros all dialed in with regards to the carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, any additional foods that you add can just be any added benefit. So a lot of people choose berries such as blueberries, strawberries, banana even, but mango is actually a really great choice because it's a very high antioxidant content, but also includes very high amounts of vitamin C, which helps with the recovery of the muscles. So about 1/2 cup to a cup of mangoes added to a protein shake will be great. You actually don't need to really focus on the carb content too much because you're getting those from your oats or any other carb source that you have. All right, that was the end of episode 3 with training and nutrition. Thanks for watching. Remember, if you're focusing on pre and post-workout nutrition, your macros have to be there with your hydration. And a great tip is to use the standards that we have in science in terms of how much protein, how much carbohydrates should I be taking in pre and post-workout. Do a little bit of extra work to figure out the portion sizes, and once you have those down, it's just going to be natural moving forward. So all of that is geared to help you maximize your training and maximize your results. Thanks again for watching, and check out evolutionnutrition.com for more great content and more great info coming up.